Hi everyone, this is Jonas from Island Wars calling in at the back end of my vacation. Having a little bit of a stroll in my yard, thinking about what the next piece of my project is going to be about. My project, building the absolute fastest Porsche 964 that I could ever build in my garage, right? So I've concluded I'm not going to do body work today. I don't have the parts to finish up the engine. I also don't have all the things ready to be able to do the wiring harness of the car, and I still have a little bit of work left before I can install the suspension. So today we're going to work on the exhaust system of the car and really building what I hope to be the leanest, lightest, highest performing exhaust system that I can come up with. So let's have a look at it. This day's episode, straight pipes. And then I look over here and what do I see? A beautiful looking engine hanging in suspension straight out from the wall. That's cool. Something seems to be missing here at the bottom though, and that is the exhaust system. So today is straight pipes and I'm gonna get the exhaust system on this piece finished, getting a little break from finishing up the body suspension, all those things, but I will get back to that very soon. I'm going to use this guy over here as my assembly jig. This is the original engine that went into my car. I haven't ran this engine in a few years because I built my other engine and I ran that for the last 2 years there. So this is really only an assembly and weld rig for the exhaust system. So boxer engine, it is just so beautifully symmetric. I just love it. Having an engine jig and an engine stand like this is something that everyone should have this. So we're going to use this as our jig to kind of see how the exhaust system fits together. Before we do that, let's cover the original exhaust system of this one so we can get some ideas and try to figure out how they were thinking when they designed that. So the original exhaust system of 964 looks like this. It's a beauty. And it sits like yay on the engine with another piece like that. Another great thing we had on the 964 exhaust is of course the catalytic converter to make sure we are really emission compliant and all those great things. There's many versions of this. You got the original one and you have the ones like this. This is the one that I used last time. It looks like a sport catalytic converter on the outside, but actually there's nothing on the inside at all. It's just a little pre-muffler. So that's one way you could go with this if you wanted. And I fast forward a little bit. I don't want to spend all the time just explaining the old exhaust. What I did was I put the muffler the way that I used it here, and I put a little heat tube here that runs the hot air into the cabin so that we can look at the whole thing. It is a quite massive exhaust system on the 964. It really is. I'm using the version with an end muffler here that goes to a C pipe and then to the tailpipe. There's another version that a lot of people use it with as a cup pipe here, so it's a straight pipe here in between, and then you have a little muffler in the wheelhouse here. So both of these work well. I like this one because I think the sound is better, but performance, I don't know if there's a difference. Let's speak about the functional aspects of an exhaust system, because you have some obvious things like sound. You want it to be bearable on the inside and the outside of the car. In my case, it needs to meet 95 decibels. That's the limit on most of the tracks here in Sweden. Another aspect is making sure that heat is transported away from the engine, because you don't want the heat to get stuck in this area here. It's not good for the engine. Third aspect is performance. You want your exhaust system to not be a performance inhibition to the natural performance of the engine. So performance inhibition, natural performance of the engine, harmonics, what do we mean with that? I'm not an expert on this, but what I do understand is that the 3 cylinders here, they explode in sequence, right? So boom, 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 and so on. As the exhaust flows through, they reach something called the collector. That's where the exhaust comes together. As they reach this point, the exhaust will expand a little bit. As it expands, the pressure naturally goes down, and that shoots a pressure pulse back, meaning that at a certain RPM, the exhaust actually helps you to generate more power because it sucks the exhaust out of the engine. So that means the length up to your collector point, that actually has a significance, and longer or shorter means that this perfect spot, this perfect RPM, is in different spots. We also speak about equal length. That means that the 3 cylinders, they actually come together after the exact same length, meaning they work together. If they're different lengths, you might have some certain RPMs where this exhaust actually pushes pressure into another one, just as it's supposed to push the pressure out. That doesn't happen with equal length. So it's supposedly better from a performance point of view, but what do I know? Looking at the original one, we can see that it's nothing like equal length. You have one coming up here, it goes all the way here, it comes to the collector here on one bank, and the other one here, it comes up here and it goes there. So this is nothing like equal length headers, and on top of that, you have the left bank and the right bank coming together here. And as you can see, the exhaust on a 964 is nothing like equal length headers. So it begs the question if it is really that important with equal length. But what I know is that it's not bad for performance, meaning it's good for performance. And with that, let's take this off and put the new headers on. So I do really like how this is starting to look. So I have just put them on there. These are 48mm outer diameter, so these are bigger than the original by quite a bit. And as you can see, there's also no heat chambers on these ones. So the heat that I've already removed of my car no longer has support from the exhaust system. So let's go from here to the silencer. So I had one of these weak moments on the internet where I found this. This is a 997 GT3 muffler with some valve pipes on the end. And my buying muscle in my body told me to buy this for a lot of money. And let's see if this is going to work on the car or not. So this is something, as I said, I found this secondhand. It's a 997 GT3 muffler, center exhaust, of course, because that's what I wanted to have. It has 2 inlet ports on the side here. The bottom one is essentially straight through, right? So there's not really that much here, just a tin bucket here. The top one actually goes in and then through and then connects with the bottom. So the top one, being the slightly smaller pipe here, it has a little bit more sound attenuation. So let's clamp it on here and see how this would look. So I don't know exactly where it's supposed to be height-wise. I'm trying to just center it, just to have a look and feel for it. I'm just taking the original clamps around the original exhaust muffler bracket that you have here on the back, and this is just to get a little bit of a feeling for it. And this is what you get. It looks pretty cool from this point of view. It does. So let's turn this bad boy around and see how this looks on the flip side. Okay, here we go. It's like one of the crabs that you put upside down. It's just spreading all over the place. And here is where I ran into issues and where I have run into issues with this solution. Let me grab the camera and I'll show you. We see a few things. We see these little distribution pipes here. So again, the logic here was that all the exhaust would all the time go through this one. It would go in here, it would mix around, and then it would come out here. And when it was really time to go loud, these vacuum valves here, they would open and then it would be essentially straight pipes out. But a challenge that I have with this is not the concept as such. The concept as such is pretty cool. But a challenge is that there's no tracks in Sweden where I would be able to go that loud. And having done a little bit of research after I bought them, I figured out that actually this silencer with this entry going through and then through the center, it probably won't meet 95 decibels anyway. The other challenge I had, which can be overcome, is that these little distribution pipes here, I would have to shorten them, right? So this lines up. So I don't know, sometimes I find myself buying stuff that I almost immediately figure out after I bought it that this is not going to work. So now I have a really nice GT3 muffler here with without a home. And really the thing that I kind of did a mind fart with how I was thinking here is this idea with being able to regulate, sometimes loud, sometimes not loud. That's not in line with the application and what I want to do with my car. My car is very purpose oriented. It is a track car. So it's going to be loud and the right amount of loud all the time. There's no purpose of going sometimes a little bit louder, sometimes a little bit not louder. That doesn't make any sense to me. So it's back to the drawing board a little bit for me on this. And here's an alternative for something else. This one is made by TT Exhaust. It says something like that over there. It's got a little bit of a funny story to it, because when I ordered the headers from Richard at TT Exhaust, he asked me, "You want a muffler with that?" And I told him, no, I don't need a muffler with that. I have a GT3 muffler that I'm going to use with valves and all kinds of stuff. And he said, "Are you sure?" When I told him, "Yeah, I'm sure." And then I came back to him and said, "You know what? You have one of those center mufflers I can buy for you?" And he helped me out. So it's got a single input. If you look through it carefully, you will see that it has a crossover. From what I understand and from what I heard from some of my friends that has tried this out, is the cross pipe is important so that you have communication with the left and the right bank, because it helps to get the exhaust pulses back, and that helps with the harmonics in some sense. I think I understand the phenomenon, but I don't know the details of how it actually pans out. These have good reputation, so that's why I wanted these. It's supposed to be slightly above 95 dB, so I have a little bit of work to do there, but it looks really good. So let's take this and put it here and see what we get. Okay, so let's roll the new one in place. I intend to reuse the original bracket that the original silencer sits on. That is the intention from TT Exhaust as well. I'm not coming up with something new. The intention is to have it sit just like that. And then there's some really nice hand fabricated straps like that. That is supposed to go on the ends here. And then there's a little tab like this that you're supposed to weld on the back of it so that it fits with this one here. So that's the concept. Of course, it would have been easier to just order everything pre-made and with not having to do any work myself at all. But I wanted to have the kit like this, because then I can make the adjustment on exactly where I want the muffler, right? Because as you look at this here, I could decide to have the muffler here. I think if I have the muffler just where we are right now, I think actually this is going to stick a little bit below the car. And that might be cool, right? I think it's better to have it a little bit up under into the car, being a little bit more concealed there, so to speak. So that's, I need to figure out where to have it, because when I know where to have it, I know where to weld those little tabs. Once I've welded those tabs, I need to make sure it doesn't interfere here, and then I can make the side pipes. And of course, another thing that is important to check is that we don't get interference with this guy, the engine tin, right? So I'm putting the engine tin in there, putting the muffler in, and now we see that it seems to be sitting very, very low. I have a little idea here, and that is that since this muffler is actually sitting in the engine support here, the one that goes across and connects to the car body, I have a spare one of these. I could just mount that into the car together with the engine mounts. Then I can mount just the muffler in the car, and I see exactly where I want to have it. So I'm going to do that right now. Okay, so I'm going to try to explain a little bit what I've done here. We have the engine mount here, right? And then we have the other engine mount just over there. And in here, I actually have my spare engine mount. You can see where the exhaust mounts there and there. I have checked this one against the one that is on the engine. They're the same. It's fabricated pieces, right? So I wanted to check. My idea now is I put the muffler in here. I see where it sits. I mark it up and I start making the side pipes. Okay, so let's see. I think this is about the right height. How am I going to get it in there? I know. Okay, this is not right, obviously. This is way too low. So I'm going to carefully take the car down a little bit and we see how that goes. A little more. Okay, so this is where we are right now. We're starting to touch the bumper. And I'm thinking I need to like cut this much something out of the bumper. I'm not gonna cut today, but I do want to position this. So I'm thinking I need to move it up about that much. I'm gonna take it down just a little bit on the lift. Then I'm gonna strap it up a little bit here. It is already sitting on the clamps. I put them in for safety there. So let's give it a try. This is where I got to. And you can see some things here. I think I've got to the vertical position of it, but because I don't want to bend my bumper completely out of shape here, it doesn't work. I will need to make a little cutout here, something nice. Then this one is going to come up so that it sticks straight back. And I think this is about it. I'm going to mark this up and continue with the fabrication. Rolling this boy back in place. Get the clamps. And after quite a bit of struggling, measuring here, measuring there, trying to make sure it's exactly in the middle, seeing that it's level, all of these good things, I think I have it in the spot. I put little tabs behind so that I can now fix it in place. I have brought out my Tig machine over there. I am a complete novice to Tig Welding, but I do know how to tack it in place. I'm going to tack it in place, so that is fixed, and then we get going with the side pipes. Next part is a really fun part, and this is when I turn into a plumber. I have this bend here, I have this bend here. One is going to go there, one is going to go there, and this is magically going to fit together. So this is about marking these pieces up, doing a test fit, and then tack welding this in place, making sure that it fits. And I have, as in any good cooking show, spent already a lot of time at measuring this up. So I'm going to go and cut these and put it together, and we see if I have a chance of fitting this. And this is what the cooking show is going to give you today. I've cut it in 3 different places. I cut this little bend here, so that we have a nice little insert into the muffler here. We cut it here at an angle, so we can see we have a little gap here and a little gap there, but I think I was pretty lucky with how we got it. I put a clamp here trying to get exactly the same shape of these two pipes. See if that works. And up here, I have clamped these two together. I put a washer in between to simulate the gasket. And I think this is where it's time for me to show off my insane TIG skills. So, full transparency, I do not know what I'm doing with this. I have maybe collected 1.5 to 2 hours of TIG welding so far. Some of the results have not been terrible, so I'm gonna give it a go. I will not do the proper seam welds with this, not until I'm much better, but I can tack it in place so that it sits where it's supposed to sit, and I can kind of finish up this piece. Then I can take these end pipes off, and then someone that really knows how to weld can help me with that. Let's give it a go. And while you might not be impressed with my TIG welding skills, maybe you like what you see. I think it looks really cool. I'm really happy with it. It's very lean, yeah, once I get a little bit of help with finishing up this weld, it's going to look really beautiful. 95 decibel, you might be asking yourself, because that was one of the things that really drove me to change the system around. If this setup doesn't meet 95 decibels with my aggressive heads and valves and cams and intake and whatnot I've put into my engine, then I did get this. So this is a little dB saver, a little, yeah, it looks like a catalytic converter, but it's really not. It goes here. So I could put 2 of those in. It will take it down just a little bit more. I have extra pipes for that as well, so I could have another set of pipes that helps me a little bit. Hopefully these meet 95 dB. If this doesn't meet 95 dB, I'm going to quit my job, become a politician, and fix the law so we can drive cars properly in Sweden. There is one thing missing, or maybe 2 or 4 things, depending on how you count, and that is the sensors in the exhaust. I'm going to have a lambda sensor here and one there, so that I have the lambda reading, the air-fuel ratio in left bank and right bank, so I get a little bit better control of my engine. The other thing is temperature sensors. I would love to do it like Phil Morris in Driftworks. Check his channel out, it's really cool stuff. He put temperature sensors in all 6 of the cylinders. This is really the best. This is really the best, especially if you have a turbo car. Since this is not a turbo car and I'm trying to keep things a little bit simple, I'm going to put 1 temperature sensor here and 1 there for tuning's sake, so I can see if I have a temperature that spikes across the board and I can locate it to left or right bank. I don't know exactly which cylinder it is. Hopefully it's just tuning related. I'm going to get that done. Not today though. I do have one thing left to do, which is something really important, and I know you guys love that, and that is... And scoring time it is. It was a while ago. So we're starting with the original system, the first header, which is weighing in at 5.8 kilos. I'm being a little bit lazy today, so I haven't actually taken this apart. This is the second header together with my fake cat bypass pipe, 10.2 kilos. So 16 kilos for the header, the connection, and the fake bypass pipe. We're missing one thing though. And that is the air tube for the heat, which I don't know who is interested in heat in a summer car, but this weighs in at 1.7 kilos. So we're up at 17.7 kilos. And of course we can't miss the beast of an end muffler, weighing in at 11.2 kilos. So 17.7 plus 11.2, that is rounded up to 29 kilos of original exhaust, considering the configuration that I had. Well, it's not very little, 29 kilos. And for the runner-up, we're gonna put the headers on here and we're gonna compare the GT3 with the new setup. 8.6 kilos for the headers in this setup, 8.6 kilos. And then, bang! GT3 muffler with bypass pipes is as much as 13.5 kilos. We will have to add a little bit here so we have some way of connecting to the header. So I'm going to make something up. So I'm adding 2 pipe bends. Maybe you need more, maybe you need a flange, something, I don't know. We're up at 15.2 kilos. And here we go with the new, brilliantly looking toy at 8.4 kilos. It's quite a big difference. It really is. And now you understand a little bit also the reason why I wanted to have this setup. I knew that this was a lot lighter than the GT3 setup. We have to be honest though, we have to have these in. So I'm gonna add these somewhere here. And we're up to 11 kilos all in. So summing this all up, the original system with my fake little cat pipe, 29 kilos. It's a heavy beast in the butt of the car. The GT3 setup with the TT exhaust headers comes down to 23.8 kilos. It's a big saving, huh? Then you go for my lean, very purpose-oriented setup at 19.6 kilos. I do miss one piece in the original setup, which is the end pipe. I didn't have that because it fell off my car. So I'm gonna give myself 10 kilo saving today from the 29 to the 19.6, considering that the end piece was missing there. So 10 kilo saving. It's not bad, is it? So I don't know what you think about this, but I do really love what I managed to put together today. I would like to hear what you think about this. So do write me a comment, like my video, and if you haven't, please subscribe to my channel. It helps me with my motivation, keeping going, doing more stuff for the Porsche community. A huge thank you to Richard from TT Exhaust. I bought this system from him, and not only did he sell it to me, he also helped me put it together. And it is a little bit of work. Maybe the next time I'll buy a completed system from him rather than pieces like this. At the same time, it was pretty fun journey making my way through this. I think my feeling is that this will be really good for performance. It just feels so lean. It's very light as well. We saved quite a few kilos today compared to the original exhaust. And I think once I get the cutout done properly with the bumper, this is gonna look fantastic. Thank you for watching, and I will see you again very soon.